Hi, this is Sarah from sarahYip.com, Facebook, The Numbers Queen, and Instagram, sarahYip1111, with your October 2022 forecast. Goodness me, the world is certainly on speed dial right now. So if you survive September, well done. High five. September brought a doubling of the energy. This happens every year, but we're in a world now where that feels like a lot. So this being a number 6 year for the planet, which is about healing the third eye, perceptions, mental health, your belief in your psychic ability to divine the future. These were all very heavily tested in September, and it was all about allowing into new viewpoints, work-life balance, creating more of a community. The 1111 appears to people who are getting to a point of self-realization. And it's just an encouragement that you are part of a lineage, that you have people following you as souls, and that you are following in the footsteps of the greats, sometimes including your past life selves, your ancestors, your guides, etc. So you're not alone. We are all one, as I like to say. This is one of my designs that I hand cut and screen printed on a recycled shirt, purple being the color for this month. It's 7 vibration. So I moved house. Wow. Last month that was fairly huge, with 3 little boys and securing a house at the last minute. Basically, we had been in negotiations for many weeks since the 8th of the 8th. And if you know me at all, you'll know that I am a pressure-prompted P personality, which means I am basically very all or nothing. When I'm with you, I'm with you. When I'm not, I'm not. And so it was a bit of a race to the finish line, but we had incredible synchronicities and helpers step in, and I'm just so grateful. And so now, instead of staring at a fence all day long in our backyard, thinking about the wide world, we actually just have an incredible view of mountains, cows, and even a volcano, which is Wollongong near Yukai. And it has been one of the best things in my whole life. The kids are calmer, I can do yoga, and in general, we just have a lot more energy. Sometimes you just can't fight who you are. And as we come into this 7 months of October, you might find this to be your truth as well, because October, this month, is actually preparing us for 2023. Now, the last time you went through a similar energy was 9 years ago. So think back to late 2013 if you get a chance, or even late 2004 if you can. There will definitely be a pattern there. The sooner that we acknowledge that life is cyclical, the more energy we have, the more confidence we have, the more joy comes into our life, because we stop trying to change the things that we can't, and we just embrace the free will aspects of being a human. So not to get too deep, let's go a bit more into your October forecast. So I'll just be doing a little bit of reading, then I'll come back to the improv part of this video. All right, so firstly, if you're enjoying this, please comment down below. So feel free to put 777 dare. I just think that's a little fun magic spell for all of us, because 7 looks like a cliff that you jump off when learning how to fly. So I mentioned we're in a 6 year. October is the 10th month, so 6 plus 10 is 16. This is a karmic number, which I'll talk about in a sec. So just expect a lot of awakening, a lot of spirit contact, people wanting to talk to you about really edgy or taboo topics, and just a deep desire within yourself, especially from your heart, to be more courageous and to make more of your daily life. So let's look at the cards. Now, the card for the year, I'm now using a French tarot for this month's video. The card for the year is this beautiful 6 energy. And it really is about the power of love this year to get us through those tough times. And you can see it's very much about the balancing of energies within ourselves and outside in the world. Now, the card for October, don't be too scared. This happens almost every year at the moment. It's called the Tower, and it does look a bit drastic, doesn't it? But I don't know if you can see, it's really about opening up. And in the Rider-Waite tarot, which is the traditional one you'll see, it shows a crown falling. So it's about clearing this illusion that we can somehow isolate ourselves from other people, we can somehow escape our commonality. It's about coming back to earth, really. It's about marrying our dreams and really following through with our promises, our souls, rather than buying into other people's worries and basically becoming addicted to that impossible race. So I have a few sayings I wanted to share with you in this particular video, and I've really had to embody those this month, which I'll talk about in a sec. So leaders compete with themselves. Amateurs or beginners, they compete with others. That's not to say one is better than the other, but one is definitely more nourishing than the other. One is definitely more healthy and sustainable than the other. Because when you compete with yourself, like, that's possible, that's doable. Competing with others, there's just always going to be someone who makes you feel that you're not enough. So it's really like trying to reach the sun instead of just turning on the light within your reach. Also, there's this concept this month that will become quite strong, that what seems impossible in your head is actually easily done from the heart or with your soul. And I just work with this almost every day with my clients and their businesses, their families. And so often the thing that we can't do is the thing we must do, basically, to fulfill our purpose. And it's not about always forcing yourself to do things, as exploring what's really going on, getting some help, getting some education, seeing is it an opportunity to basically travel and to move on. We're all travelers, really. Some of us have been on Earth for longer, maybe so long that we've forgotten that there are different types of people who come here, different types of souls. Others who might be a bit more recent, who often marvel, I suppose, at the strangeness of Earth. It's hard to believe sometimes how long it takes, I guess, for us to learn as humans, how many times we have to repeat the same patterns. But there's a couple of cute jokes I can tell. One is from a greeting card, and it's this little piggy on this mountain of like desserts, and it says, "Save the Earth, it's the only planet with chocolate." So that could be one reason you came here, sure. And the other one, and this is probably more from like spiritual channeling, past life regressions, is when people sort of question, why would someone come here who's quite futuristic or quite psychic when we kind of know those types of people get shut down? Well, because this is the only place in the universe that you can have a human heart, and there's just nothing quite like it. It's the best way I can put it. Okay, so what else is going on this month? A little bit of word magic. So they call it charging because it's leadership. It's about moving yourself and others onwards from the past, from places of like scarcity. So even the word charge adds to 33, which is kind of the magic number for 2022. The 33s and the 6s in numerology are basically supercharged for all of this year, and they've been coming in quite a lot for sessions. So charge, it has this 33 energy. It's the same as wake up call. And I can tell you from experience working in fundraising, NGOs, grants, as a psychic, you can do a lot just with the ask. Sometimes the reason someone meets you may not be a transaction or a sale. It could actually just be that little bit of a nudge for them and for you in a different direction that is just, just more loving. And so I quite enjoy having prices or setting prices that make people pause for a moment. For me, that's probably my Aquarian or all the 11s in my numbers, which is a bit provocative. Not everyone is going to do life like me. However, it's got to be said, someone has to set the bar. And if you set the bar too low, no one can survive around you. And so I just wanted to mention that this would be a good month, if you've been thinking about it, to raise your prices or raise your standards, to lobby for better working conditions. We're in an economy that for a lot of people is contracting. And again, this is from fundraising, which is basically asking people for money over the phone. One of the hardest jobs ever, I think, at least mentally. So the charities that survived recessions are the ones who kept asking. They're the ones who kept investing. They're the ones who stayed consistent because they knew that a lot of people were relying on them, not just the people they supported, but the people who supported them. We all have a need to feel purposeful, to feel connected, to feel of service. And so as much as perhaps those around you or even your inner critic is saying, discount, race to the bottom, play small, hide, basically run for the hills, just be aware that everything is cycles. And again, I can just say from experience, it's the people who keep asking, they keep running a business, they keep being leaders. They are the ones who actually grow during times of catastrophe, not always at others' expense, but just because that's the nature of money and energy, is that it wants a place to be where it's safe and it's protected and it's not feared. So it's just a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to do the opposite. All right, a few other things. Look, even when I said raising your prices, I'm talking about it could be just $5, honestly. I've got a bit of a track record. Pretty much everyone I work with, for better or for worse, raises their prices. Not just for me, just to let you know, but just in general. And that's one of the things I can give people. My next call actually in Patreon is on palmistry, so I'll mention this. You can see I've got a very long index compared to my ring finger. This is a little bit unusual. So this is a lot of Jupiter energy. This is a lot of ability to provide confidence and counsel and education. And it can come across as bossy. Just ask some of my loved ones. But bossy for a cause. Anyway, what I'm trying to get to is that almost everyone I work with or that I know, they raise their standards. And I believe that's part of my mission. And it's not so that you become kind of untouchable or like a snob, but it's because almost always sensitive people downvalue themselves, and it's a loss to society because they burn out or they can't afford the healing they need or the help they need. It's a tragedy. So please look after yourself and be brave as you're asking. A few other things. So I mentioned that October is this 16 month. Now, some numerologists call this a karmic debt number. And I have to say, it's for me always a bit of a touchy subject when you come across these things which seem fairly negative. It does make me sometimes wonder who wrote them, what was their intention. Nevertheless, the idea is with karmic 16, it's people who think too much. And so they can get to a point where they can become a bit judgy, a bit prejudiced, or even a bit superficial. Like, you know, they kind of rule things out based on figures, whether it's the appearance or the money and things like that. So thereby, they just miss out on the lessons in life, the richness and the depth in life. So just be aware this month, there could be some obvious places where perhaps you just need to go a little bit deeper to get the gold. And don't be surprised if you feel you need to start slowing down. This again is the energy of 2023. I think most of us are still very much recovering from 2020, which was that massive heart opening year. It was all about the heart and the lungs and just restructuring society as a 4-year. Okay, last few things. So because the third eye and the crown are super, super active this month, just be aware of things like becoming a bit paranoid, sort of getting deceived by people who are sort of smooth talkers, a lot of people questioning you or appearing very skeptical. They're all just tests. I've actually noticed over time that I usually get a troll before a massive like project or massive offer, and it's just kind of the cycles and rhythms of being a sensitive person. So don't be afraid. It's all just part of the journey, and there's always something incredible on the other side. Just deal with it as best you can. So just a little bit more for today's video on October. There's a few links I'll put below. One's about staying zen under criticism. using some humor. There's another article on spotting spiritual frauds or whitewashers, and I have to say there seems to be more of them rather than less these days, but what a good opportunity to use your intuition. You pretty much have to be psychic to find a psychic, and I think that's kind of part of the adventure. So basically, if you have strong 7 or 16 energy in your life path, your name, your birthday, your date of birth grid, or if you see numbers like 777, you're going to be really busy in October. You're going to be in demand. Please look after yourself. Sevens are the spiritual teachers and eternal students. I love them very much. Actually, at one point, my husband, Chris, he does tarot, and I think he had something like 30% with this particular number 7 life path, like 34 sevens. And I think it's because they're very interested in those kind of esoteric topics, and they're always looking for kind of the person they can really talk to properly about it. Chris is an old soul. So anyway, look, if you've got strong 7 energy, expect to be called up or have people contacting you. Be available. There's some good opportunities coming in. And just remember, next year is very much your year, and I'll do a forecast on that soon, which you will be able to book into. And look, even if you don't have a lot of 7s in your own numerology, you could work in a 7 energy industry like education or mysticism or nutrition or something. And also you're bound to know some 7s, so you will still be affected by the global energy. Okay, so what about some dates as we wind up? So the 9th and the 10th of October, and that's beautiful, isn't it? 10-10. This is the full moon, and this is when we can expect to feel more. So more emotions. Obviously, the moon is at its brightest. Some people find they're much more active at night. They have more vivid dreams. Intuition is heightened. We then go forwards to the 25th, which is the new moon, and it's an eclipse. So it could be a bit of a scattered energy, and I just always advise resting around that time if you can. It's one of those times to sort of switch off the phones and just allow yourself and your body to debrief. So if you've enjoyed what we've been talking about today, there's some ways you can connect. The easiest way, obviously, is just have a look through my newsletter, which is coming out shortly with this forecast. You could join my Patreon. It's a community study group. It's got people from all around the world, incredible people. Our next call is on the 15th. It's on palmistry for personal development. This is absolutely my passion. Palmistry was how I kind of found myself. It's also how I found my husband on a TV show. So it definitely works to bring people together and find true love and all the good stuff in life. So you can have a look at those links. I also have class replays. And apart from that, I've actually got quite a few events, which is quite rare for me. So I'll be at the Conscious Life Festival in Byron Bay, 5th and 6th of November, supporting my incredible friend Laura, a Master 33. I will be doing readings and talks, and that's a very good opportunity to come and meet and talk to me, because I don't do too many events now with 3 kids under 7. I also have some very special events with my mentor, Caroline Bird, who has basically taught me holistic counseling, mediumship, all kinds of things for over 13 years and how many lifetimes. So Caroline and I will be joining forces to do an online meditation on the night of 11/11 in Australian. I can feel that already. So it's an angelic healing and meditation night. And you can book that through my e-newsletter and through the links below. And then we'll do an in-person workshop the next day, which I'll be advertising really soon. We're just finalizing the details there. So just remember, in October, this is the time to dare and win. The universe is waiting for you. And there's this beautiful quote that I feel is very relevant to all of those watching. The quote is, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only a page," and that's by St. Augustine. So that's the bulk of today's forecast. Just the last thing is just thank you for all your support. I can't thank you enough. It makes so much difference. All your comments, your emails, your messages, your gifts. It's an incredible experience being the recipient of those things. And I do want to acknowledge all of you, even if I don't reply. It really does touch my heart, keeps me going. I also want to congratulate the, it's either 10 or 11 people at this point who've been successful in joining my 1111 World Changes program. This is absolutely my dream come true. I've been working on this for years, and it's a business accelerator, and it just combines everything I've learned over the years in my careers in fundraising, environmental science, activism, psychic work, to help people basically be in the top 1% of their industry or field, to be the go-to person, and to be protected and joyful as they go about their mission, because it's really no fun at the top if you can't even go to the beach. You know, when you get to a certain level of significance, it can be pretty overwhelming. And there's some just really practical ways that we can deal with that. So I'll be teaching them those things, and then we'll have future rounds, fingers crossed. So again, thank you so much for supporting my work. Hope you like my Love 1111 shirt. I want to show you one more. Look, there's more. Look at this. Cute, isn't it? That's a beautiful gift from my friend Tony Riley, another one of my mentors and a fellow numerologist who you're welcome to check out. So I hope you've enjoyed this little spiel. Absolute pleasure to have been spending some more time with you, and just take care, and I look forward to sharing the November forecast with you before long. This has been Sarah from sarahYip.com, Facebook, The Numbers Queen, and Instagram, SarahYip1111, wishing you all wellness, oneness, happiness. Take care. Bye.